The pink seat. I came home a day early from a business trip about 6 weeks ago and found the toilet seat up in our upstairs guest bathroom. This may not be remarkable in most households, but I, 51, live with my wife, 44, and our 3 daughters, 17, 15, and 13. Living with 4 women means always putting the toilet seat down. It is an accommodation to their gender that I have fully embraced. We haven't had house guests since the before times, and no one really uses that bathroom except for overnight guests. So finding the toilet seat in an empty house in the middle of the day in the middle of the work week is, to put it mildly, odd. My daughters and their friends were still at school. My wife was still at work. I checked the doorbell video log, but no one had come into the house since everyone left around 7:15 that morning. This would bother me no matter what, but in the past year or so I've noticed some distance from my wife, like not being fully present in the evenings after dinner or in the bedroom, and I can't put my finger on it, but there is definitely a disturbance in the force, and she's been on a slight to medium edge ever since I asked her about the toilet seat. Obviously, I suspect there's been another male in my house, but I have no idea when or why. I have no real reason to suspect she's cheating, but we are hitting our midlives and humans can be human, so it is a possibility that is weighing on me. I found this website and I've been reading various threads looking for advice. She's not guarding her phone, traveling for work, going out with the girls, or disappearing for hours at a time. The only red flag I've seen is the open toilet seat, and the only red flag I feel in my gut is her distance. Perhaps I should give you some background. My wife, let's call her Catherine, and I met when I was grad school in Minnesota. She was 24 and working at the university as research assistant. I was 33 and changing careers. We've been inseparable ever since. We married 18 months after meeting and she supported me through the rest of grad school. We moved to Florida trading endless winters for endless summers, and I started a business which afforded us a comfortable, financially stable life while letting her stay home and raise our daughters, which is what she wanted to do. A few years ago, when our oldest entered middle school, Kay decided she wanted to buy a business, a little florist shop, in the center of town. She supported me when I started a business and I supported her with the money to fund the purchase and by picking up more of the daily parenting duties. It has been a success thanks to her hard work and she is well known locally as a community leader. Our marriage has been great, in my opinion. Like any relationship, it ebbed and flowed over the years depending on work stressors and parenting problems. We hit a particularly rough patch a couple of years ago. We caught our eldest daughter shoplifting, which necessitated some hard conversations and hard love. We did not exactly agree on how to handle it, and I think we both still have some reservations and resentments as a result. Around late April of last year I had a bike accident while trying to get some lockdown exercise which resulted in a surgery. Between that and lockdown closures I was housebound for nearly 4 months, which drove everyone crazy, particularly my wife. Kay got progressively distant while nursing me back to health, but I read that it can be a problem when a partner turns into a caretaker, so I didn't worry too much. It was not like I was in any shape to put out anyway, and all the bad moods seemed to pass once I was mobile and back in the saddle again. But I've felt a distance between us ever since. My business is one that requires a fair amount of client contact. I used to travel a lot, but after Kay bought the florist business, I cut it back to 2 to 3 days every week or so. I usually go out on Tuesday, handle the client on Wednesday, and return on Wednesday night or Thursday morning. That way I am only gone 2 nights at the most and can be home for the girls' sports events on Friday. I seriously considered it was my oldest daughter sneaking home from school with her boyfriend. Yes, I came home on Wednesday morning rather than Thursday because my client had an emergency at his plant, canceled our meeting after I'd flown out. Such is life. So, I went home. When the girls got home from school, I asked them about the toilet seat and if one of them had a boy over. All I heard in response was, "Dad, gross, no." I double-checked with the older one, but she swears she was in school. Now I have lived with teens long enough to know they will lie to your face with a smile that wouldn't melt butter. But I called the school the next day and all the kids were counted as present in every class, so I am not sure how she could have skipped. Our house has 3 entry points: the front door, which has a video doorbell, a side door that does not and which we rarely use, and a back door that also has a video doorbell. I saved all the video clips from that day. Here is what I can see. The kids all go out the back around 7:15 headed to school. Kay left out of the front door 15 minutes later to walk to the shop about 10 blocks away. That is part of her exercise regime. Amazon dropped off a couple of packages at the front door mid-morning. Kay came home for lunch around noon. Her delivery van pulled into the driveway and dropped off our weekly flowers. One of the perks of being married to a florist is a home full of fresh flowers. Around 12:15, Kay left out of the front door and walked back to the shop around 1:30. The mail lady made her delivery around 2:30, and I came home just before 3. The girls piled in around 3:30, and Kay walked home around 5. Other than a stray dog running through the yard, that was it. I am working from home today, so I will check the phone bills this morning, and I think I may run by Best Buy to find some wireless cameras. I kind of expected someone to say, "Yes, the cleaner came a day early" or something. When I asked Kay when she came home from work, she freaked out. She asked me if I had checked all the doors when I got home. I had, all locked, and I told her I checked the security video log and saw nobody there, but she is convinced we must have had a prowler in the house looking for valuable. She's been triple checking the locks ever since. I was not and am still not convinced. I've racked my brain trying to think of any other inconsistencies. I can't think of any. Our life seemed picture perfect. We have a nice home on the water in Florida. We spend a month every summer traveling as a family. We've saved almost enough for the onslaught of college tuition, and honestly, we want for very little. It has been a charmed life, and now I wonder if it is time to pay the piper. Simply put, something in my marriage feels off, but this is the first real thing out of place. I am worried. Our physical life is solid, if a little vanilla lately. We usually have relations 2 to 3 times per week. Almost always before I go out of town and when I get home, and usually, hopefully, once over the weekend. No new personal grooming, it's all bare everywhere. No new lingerie that I've seen, but maybe I need to check. Kay does not travel for work at all except for a couple of market, convention-type meetings once or twice a year, but I usually go with. She's not phone guarding that I've noticed. She has a password on her phone as do I, but we know each other's passwords and we trade phones all the time, like when something needs mapping or we want to share social media post without sending it to one another. I secretly checked her phone a few times over the past few weeks and there is nothing suspicious, but there are a million messaging apps, so who knows. If I had not checked in with the school, I would just assume the 17-year-old was here with her boyfriend. I love her, but she can be a sneaky one. The thing is the distance I feel between Kay and me. It has had me slightly off-center for a while, but I did not know what to do or say about it as I just chalked it up to the whole world being upside down and now reopening, and us all trying to find our new bearings. I am taking some early advice, and this afternoon I purchased a set of 3 wireless cameras which I am going to install outside around the house this weekend. I hear you about VAR, but she walks to work as often as she drives, and I cannot imagine that I can hide one on her person and the car ride is too short. Plus, as someone suggested, if she discovered the VAR, that might cause too much harm to the relationship. Cameras I can pass off as additional security. She is supposed to take the girls shopping on Sunday, so maybe I will have some time to peek around the bedroom and closet for items unknown to me. I also plan to look at the cell phone bill. I will let you all know what I find. We took a family day and drove across the state to visit 2 of my great aunts who finally feel comfortable having vaccinated guests. It was really good to hug them, and it was a really nice family day. Today Kay and the daughters are joining some of their girlfriends for their first unmasked shopping trip for clothes in over a year. My plan today is to download the cell phone bill and install the cameras. Someone suggested putting security on the side door, which was the first thing I planned to cover with a camera. Because of the way the house sits on the lot, the drive comes in by the side of the house and then turns into a garage area with a parking pad which also exits to the street. Our normal traffic pattern is to enter from the front of the house and exit from the parking area into the side street. I am going to place a camera on the garage to catch anyone entering from the exit. Not sure yet where to place the third one. Anyway, I am thinking as I type and you're probably bored. The other thing I intend to do is to search our bedroom and bath for anything out of place or that is new to me. As I type that now, I am beginning to think you all are mostly correct. I am just being paranoid. It has to the eldest daughter, doesn't it? That makes so much more sense. And she's proven herself wily. I do love her though. We had such a nice day yesterday. Kay was her usually funny, loving self. The daughters were so happy to go see their aunties that they didn't squabble. It felt good. I've never had a concern that my wife might be stepping out. It is so far out of her good girl personality as to be laughable. I trust her completely. Plus, I just don't know when she would have time. Someone asked about the health of the flower shop. It has been a strange year in business. I will post a more detailed response later, but it was a much better year than expected. Well, I have come down off of my family high from Seri. Everything seemed fine yesterday, but really not really. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone was a little unsettled. We didn't talk about it much, but the undercurrent was there. Kay took the girls shopping just before lunch, which gave me most of the afternoon on my own. I spent most of the time trying to place the cameras. It was harder than I thought it was going to be to put the cameras out of sight and still have clear lines of vision. I spent a fair amount of time on the ladder. I finished before anyone came home, but I did have time to search the house, though I did find 5 different hairs in the Dyson, joking. The cell phone bills show no significant increase in usage over the past 18 months, and there is no clear-cut favorite target of her text messages. The bulk of her messages are to her employees, the daughters, me, and a few girlfriends around the country. Dead end there. I need to focus on my wife for a while, so I decided to postpone the 2-day business trip I was going to take and stay home this week. When I told the family last night, my girls were thrilled because now I won't miss their sports on Wednesday, but my wife just pursed her lips and asked why. She seemed irritated, but then shook it off. Honestly, I was disappointed at her response. It has me thinking. I think I will take her out for a surprise lunch tomorrow. Today, I will search the bedroom for the unknown unknowns while Kay is at work. I decided that if I have not found any redder flags by the end of the week, I will pack this away as my paranoia and be done with it. The group skepticism is actually kind of reassuring. I found a dildo, a very large, rather realistic dildo hidden high up behind a pile of sweaters at the top of her closet. It has been used, or at least it is out of the packaging and appears used. I've never seen it before. She has a toy drawer where she keeps her girl gear, and I've never seen this before. It is huge, like 9 inches long and a couple of inches in diameter. I don't know what to make of it. This is out of character for her. I also found a few pair of new thongs panties in her drawers. She hates thongs and refuses to wear them, so I am not sure why she has any. These both feel like red flags to me. I am not sure I am going to be able to sleep tonight. Do you think I should ask her about these things? I've been feeling very discombobulated since I found it. Maybe I should just sit down and tell what I found and that I've been feeling off and ask her to let me into her world again. I don't know. It is going to be hard to sleep imagining her using that thing. I can't believe that she does. She's not a dildo person. Vibes yes, but not simple dildos, yet she has this monster in her closet. So, if it is not hers, whose is it and why is it here? No, it must be hers, right? So, I've shut my mouth and opened my eyes. I feel completely blown away by the dildo, but from what you all are saying I should be more worried about the half-dozen thongs. Just so you know, they are not fancy panties. They look like they're made of regular cotton material, just in thong shape rather than traditional panties. The very presence in her undies drawer is concerning. I slept okay last night with the help of meds. Again, as people suggested, I've decided to act normal, be a good husband, pay attention, and give her some rope while I continue to investigate. I intend to go through and answer some of your questions directly. I've been pretty quiet today, but I think tomorrow I will surprise her for lunch and take her to one of our favorite local joints. Kay has 6 full-time employees, although their work is spread across a 6-day week, so not everyone works at the same time. She has 4 women who are the talent, the flower arrangers. And she has 2 men, both of whom are the delivery drivers. The delivery drivers tend to be the ones she complains about the most, but she is still complaining about them both. So, I can say there is nothing suspicious in the last month. I won't bore you with the details, but there seems to be a routine that hasn't been broken until school let out a couple of weeks back. Now the kids come and go a bit more, but next week they start some sports camps, finally, and we'll be back in a routine again, so maybe I will learn more. The flower deliveries, as far as I know, whichever driver is on duty on Wednesday. Most of her orders are for end-of-the-week delivery. She usually has the flowers from the prior weekend that are on edge of spoiling put into 2 or 3 arrangements and delivered to our house to open room in the coolers for the fresh flowers coming in for the weekend coming up. I can't say for sure how long the driver stays, but when I home on Wednesdays my experience is that the driver brings the flowers in and sets them when Kay tells him to, and then he leaves. All told, 10 to 15 minutes, I guess. I have not seen any new fancy or revealing clothes, and I did not see any in her closet. Question: why would you not tell your husband that you are wearing a thong to avoid panty lines? It seems like it shouldn't be an issue. Just curious. Our physical life, I thought, was good. 2 to 3 times a week when things are good. Less if we've been arguing. But mostly we get along. She likes bonding before I go out of town and when I come back, so it is usually at least twice a week and sometimes a weekend quickie or long session depending on where the kids are, not home. But I have felt like she is not wholly present more often than in years past. The dildo is now causing me to wonder if she is not satisfied with me and our bonding. That is what hurts the most today. We live about 10 blocks from the shop, so sometimes she walks home for lunch or to have a business conversation she does not want the employees to hear. I know she was home on the day in question. I just looked at the video for the last few Wednesdays. She was not home the last 2 Wednesdays but was home the 2 Wednesdays before that. I have no idea how long the driver is in the house, but I can't imagine it would be that long. The thing is, I can't tell from the doorbell video. I can see the van enter the driveway, but because of how the drive turns out, the back doorbell does not see the driveway. Plus, Kay has the flowers delivered to the side door because it is easier to place the big arrangements in the house without negotiating the obstacles in the kitchen. Whichever driver it is, he comes through the side door. Garage is not attached to the house, and there was not a camera on that location, but there is a camera pointing at it now. I should learn more during tomorrow's delivery. It is very hard to imagine my wife banging one of her employees. I mean, that is just not done. And the van drivers are, gosh, I don't mean to be unkind, but they are not really her kind of people. Oh, that sounds snobbish, but there it is. Do people a fare down? I mean, why? An update. I decided to go ahead and surprise Kay for an early lunch yesterday. At first it was great. She was totally surprised and seemed pleased to see me. We went around the corner to a favorite little pub where I had my favorite local burger. We even sat next to each other like teenagers rather than across from each other. It was really nice. I walked her back to her shop afterwards and we talked a little about her business. She's having trouble getting flowers in from Asia. I know she is stressed about it. That was the good. Then I asked her if she wanted to come home for a post-lunch time. but she took a pass saying she had to meet some staff, which disappointed me. One of her general complaints is that our physical life is not spontaneous enough, and here I canceled the trip, surprised her with lunch, and offered her afternoon delight in our empty house, and she said no. Then reminded me that the house was not guaranteed empty because the kids are just out and about. That was the bad. Our intimacy still seems out of sync. On another note, our weekly delivery of flowers was delivered while I was out. I asked Kay how the delivery guy got into the house if the girls aren't there to let him in. She said that she keeps a key to the side door on the wall at the shop and the delivery guy takes it and lets himself in. So, there is that question answered. Someone asked about the delivery drivers. Let's call them Tom and Jerry. Tom is in his mid-20s, an ink skater type, seems a little lost in the fog of dope, ambitious less, but super cute according to my daughters. He has a girlfriend. Jerry is 10+ years older, I'd guess, a little rough, short, mostly lazy, gadfly about town kind of guy. He seems to know everyone everywhere he goes. He has a wife who is clearly the main breadwinner based upon what my wife pays him. It is hard to imagine either of them with Kay. Tom is so young, much closer to our children's ages, and Jerry is so, well, rough. God, even as I type I can hear the English phrase she likes a bit of rough in my head. I was all ready to dismiss the drivers but now want to rethink Jerry. Back to the cell phone records I go now that I have a number I could focus on. The rest of the night was mostly unremarkable. Kay was a little grumbly, but so were the kids, so who knows. I had hoped Kay might belatedly take me up on my offer, but she was not interested and rolled over as soon as I climbed into bed. I told her this morning that I thought that was an odd reaction after the good day we had, but she said she was in PMS mode. Now back to minding the phone bills. I am also looking for her computer password list, the paper backup. I think the youngest might know where it is, but I don't really want to involve her. I began to worry that I way overreacted. So, rather than worry about the past or the future, I decided to be present for the entire weekend. We had a good, normal weekend and beginning of the week. The girls started camps yesterday, so a lot of the weekend was spent running errands in 10 different directions getting ready. I leave this morning on a 2-night trip, returning Thursday afternoon. I agree with you all that if anything is going on, which I hope there is not, then it will probably happen while I am gone. I will be watching the cameras. The cameras have not picked up anything that I felt out of the ordinary. The only folks who come to the house with any regularity are family, a few service people like the mail woman, the yard guys, the cleaning lady, the floral delivery guys, and the pool girl. Yes, we have a once-a-week pool girl, so make your jokes now. I even saw the exterminator come and do his monthly service around the house, but nothing out of the ordinary or that caused me pause. The monster dildo remains untouched behind the sweaters, the thongs remain unworn in the drawer, and the toilet seats remain down on the pots. But the wife still shows signs of irritability and distraction. Or I am just reading too much into normal everyday stressors. I think we need to have a couples weekend soon. Anyway, I've kind of enjoyed watching the comings and goings around the house on the cameras, so I am going to leave them up a few weeks longer and then I may transition them to more open and obvious spots for security. So, we are going to enjoy the holiday weekend now, and I hope that you all do too. Major update. 88 minutes. I finished up with my client in a Midwestern city far from home and am back in my hotel room. I just looked at the camera. Jerry, the older one, delivered the flower today. His delivery van was in our driveway by the side door, and he was in my house for 88 minutes over the lunch hour today. And yes, Kay was home the entire time. The doorbell camera logged her entrance and exit. 88 minutes. I don't even know what to think. What do I do now? I want to call her right now and ask what the hell. I think I am going to go throw up. I threw up. My comment. So, she's having an affair with the guy who's married. When you surprised her for lunch, did he act odd? Didn't she say she couldn't have a good time with you because she had to go meet an employee that afternoon? I'm sorry about this news, but don't tell her you know until you get the undeniable evidence. She will lie and lie if you can't prove it. You may need a camera in the bedroom area. But if this is true, this is who she is ... and you can't change that about her. Basically, she isn't who you thought she was. OP responds. Rough night. It was hard to pretend. It was very hard to sleep. Felt like I'd been punched in the gut. A lot. Long flight home. Just landed an hour ago. Going to catch up on all the advice. Not going to confront yet. Probably going to hire a PI. Lots of thinking and pretending, I guess, to do still. OP disappears for a while and then updates. I filed for divorce after a big confrontation. However, I am afraid I cannot say anything more at the moment on the advice of my lawyer and at request of our local police detectives. Hopefully, I may be able to fill in some of the blanks later. My comment. OP did the right thing. I know some people might want more details, but OP has a lot on his plate now. Him filing is one step towards his ultimate freedom, and that is what we hope for. Story 2. The crazy one, ongoing one. I recently found out my fiancé, who I have been with for 10 years, has been talking to other men on Snapchat and Grindr. We are a straight couple. I confronted him and he admitted it and deleted the apps. I have full access to his phone now and he assures me he didn't do anything except talk to them and send pictures. I want to believe him, but the fact that I didn't get to see what was exchanged on those sites is weighing on me so heavily that I don't know if I can keep up the relationship. We are best friends. We never fight or argue. He's literally the best ever. That's why it was such a shock. If he wasn't a great guy, I would have dumped him, but I want to make it work so bad. My concern is that he could be downloading the apps on his way to work and deleting them daily. Is there a way to track this? He has a newer iPhone, so spy tracker apps won't allow me to check messages coming through Snapchat or dating apps. He has voluntarily offered to let me put a spy app on his phone for peace of mind, so I think he's actually stopped. But I'm being eaten alive by my concerns, and I need to know for sure. Anyone here have experience with this? We are a straight couple. He proposed several years ago, and I have been dragging my feet on marriage because I was divorced before and I don't want to go through it again. Truthfully, I don't see how he could have physically cheated because we are together almost all the time except when he is at work, and I don't think he could make that leap to trying out men. But I could be wrong. I can't throw 10 years away without proof, not 10 years with someone who I love this much. For those asking, yes, I can get past his messages and pictures as long as he has stopped, and so long as it hasn't been physical. You might not all agree with that, and that is fine, but once again, I am looking for help with the app tracking only. My fiancé has suggested I install the spy app on his phone for peace of mind. He says he knows he has lost the right to privacy, and he doesn't need it. I think he actually thinks I already installed it, so quite likely he won't upload any of those apps. It's not illegal in my country, and I wouldn't be using it against him in court or anything, just my own peace. We have a pre-habitation agreement, and no kids. Everything we own belongs to one of us, but not both. The fake account won't work as he did not use his own photo. Counseling is maybe a good idea, and I have been looking into it. He's open to the idea of going as well. I really appreciate the thought you've put into your message. It's nice to know not everyone thinks this is a cut and dry case of get out. My comment: OP, your husband might be coming out of the closet. Be careful about it. If he is, there is nothing you can do except walking away.